How realistic is a $2 billion fine, and what is the potential impact of an SEC win, or, like we all think, a Ripple win? We're going to break down a couple of key points in this video, as well as taking a look at some interesting information coming from Bill Morgan, specifically on that SEC $2 billion fine. All of that in this video. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Time once again to talk about XRP, and specifically a couple of key points in relation to that latest SEC news, and again Bill Morgan, and some more important price predictions in this video. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also if you're in the XRP army, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, let me know that you're here. And with that being said, the overall cryptocurrency market currently coming in at a $2.6 trillion market, 1.3% down on the day, and it's been a very interesting day. We obviously got the Coinbase news in which the SEC has been allowed to pursue that suing of them. It doesn't mean that they're going to do it. It doesn't mean they're going to win that court case, but it does mean they're allowed to do it. And I guess the fact that it's a legal court case against the SEC has had a detriment to the overall market. Bitcoin around 69,300, showing a bit of strength. We might start to see that push to that 70k mark. And XRP, no exception, unfortunately. 61.38 the current price, but up on volume, just under a $2 billion day on volume. So let's break down a couple of key things. What's happened in the last few days is really important. Now, I covered it yesterday. Obviously, the SEC going after a $2 billion fine attached to XRP on the sales of their token, ultimately defined as a security, and more importantly, institutional sales under a selling contract in which profits were alleged to be expected. But Bill Morgan, now for those of you that don't know, he is a lawyer and he's been part of this kind of XRP movement. He has some very interesting words, and we'll take a look at a tweet that he put out, and I guess it really sums up exactly what's going on. So if you're not too sure about it, stick around. But it says the SEC's brief is a possible problem for Ripple beyond this case. The SEC is able to argue that there were two groups of institutional sales investors. It calls them favored and non-favored, and Ripple offered one group significant discounts in XRP price over the other group that did not receive them. This is where the problem lies: retail versus institution. Says the SEC argues that the selective offering of discounts to some institutional sale investors and not others harmed the institutional sales investors that did not receive the discounts on assumption. It makes it asserts that the harm was $480 million. Those assumptions need to be tested, and the evidence of causation of this alleged harm seems thin, i.e. the fact that they can't prove it, or at this moment in time, they can't prove where this $480 million supposed harm or ultimately offset benefits to some institutional investors and not the others, is certainly an interesting view. He goes on to say the SEC asserts that the sales at discounts to some institutional sales investors put downward pressure on the market price of XRP. These assertions in the SEC's brief, and the evidence of which the assumptions are based, which I need to find time to consider in more depth, must at least make possible the risk of a legal action against Ripple from those institutional sales and investors who are allegedly harmed by non-disclosure of discounts given to other institutional investors. This is the problem. Ultimately, the SEC now shifting a narrative. They know they can't deem it as a security, but shifting a narrative in the sentiment that they didn't disclose this discount. They didn't disclose to all of the investors that there were one group getting a better deal than others. It says here, timing would be important in terms of selling, and that would be important to show causation. Not sure if this revelation is great for Ripple's reputation with institutional investors, as these sales to institutions were found to be investment contracts. It means that this offering of disclosure to some but not other institutions is very disclosed according to the SEC, and should have and would have been made to the institutions if the sales to institutions had been registered. I guess all a bit confusing to a degree, but ultimately you have one group of institutional investors that got a discount and others that didn't. This is where the cryptocurrency market needs to grow up, and I guess where it's slightly different. If you invest in an ICO or a pre-sale, you get it at a different price point. The same to be said here with XRP. The difference here is these are institutional investors as opposed to, like we said, retail investors. But it does go on, Bill Morgan saying here, I think the SEC's arguments have some problems to discuss later once I get my thoughts, but ultimately it's not about the discounting, but the failure to disclose it. And that is the big crux here. It isn't the fact that some groups got it at a better price than others. It's the fact that this wasn't disclosed, that it was deemed as a fair sale, and the SEC arguing that it's not. Now, that doesn't mean that the SEC is going to win. I truly sit in the camp that I believe XRP will be the victor in this case, but at the same time, it's given something for the SEC to go after. We just saw it with Qcoin. It has something to go after. It doesn't mean they're going to get it. So I guess the question is, what if? What if the SEC win? What if Ripple win? Well, ultimately, if Ripple wins, the court favors Ripple. It would be a significant blow to the SEC's efforts to regulate cryptocurrency. And if the SEC wins, well, ultimately, there would be a big fine. That's the reality. $2 billion to be precise, and it could be an imposed fine through final amount, maybe less, depending on what they agree with. But ultimately, a settlement will be both parties could reach a settlement agreement, potentially involving a financial penalty, but avoiding a definitive classification of XRP as a security. And that's the big thing we want to avoid. But they are fighting for the cryptocurrency market. Ultimately, we'll see how this plays out. For me right now, it's a $2 billion price tag that is at risk. Do the XRP leaders, Brad and Chris, settle or not? We already know that they're prepared to go and argue against it. So it's going to be very, very interesting. With all of that chucked in the mix, though, we are seeing a little bit of strength when it comes to XRP, specifically at a couple of levels. But now we know both trading above the 10-day simple moving average and the 100-day simple moving average, giving us some good underlying strength at around that 62.5 range, which should be bullish. Ultimately, though, it is all going to be depicted by the fact of the price. Now, Bitcoin starting a little bit of a rally. XRP, we talked about 3%, looking for a bounce off the 50-day exponential moving average. This light blue line is the 200 simple moving average, but that MACD is in a battle right now. We want to see the markets push. We want to see the sentiment move back with us, and I think we're in for a pretty interesting ride with XRP. Now, I truly believe Bitcoin is setting up for a pretty big run. We already know Larry Fink got bullish on Bitcoin earlier, and I think XRP, in my opinion, is setting up for the same sort of move. I don't think it's going to be massive, but I do think we'll see a push to the upside. What I think will be very interesting is what comes out from Brad, what comes out from the team, and how they move forward, given some of the things we've talked about in this video, given the non-disclosure of those discounts. It's such a small thing, and I think that is what the SEC will home in. Why? Because they can attach a financial penalty to the sum of those discounts. It's not about classifying XRP as a security. It's not about even going after the cryptocurrency in this point. For me, Coinbase, XRP, it's all about money. Even Terra Luna, it's all about the money right now, and that's what Gary Gensler is trying to argue. Let me know, though, in the comments down below, what do you think? Do you think they should settle, or do you think they should fight it? Drop it down. Settle or fight in the comments down below. And as ever, if you want to stay up to date with all the things going on with XRP, hit that subscribe button, turn your notification bell on, and click all so you don't miss a beat in this cryptocurrency bull run. And as ever, thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.